Hey guys, welcome to my very first Bitcoin slash cryptocurrency YouTube channel. Very first channel I've ever created. I'm not going to beat around the bush, so let's just get right into it. First and foremost, not a financial advisor. Everything that I've done in crypto, it's for my own analysis, and didn't study charts in college. So this is a lot of things that I've learned to help me take the next step to understand what's going on in this market. There's a lot of volatility. There's a lot of heavy upswings, heavy downswings, and the more you're in crypto, the more you start to see patterns. For me, I've always kind of looked at these patterns, and now it's just trying to take those patterns and figure out how they could help us. If I could help you in any way, in terms of giving you an opportunity to identify for yourself some things that you may like or dislike moving forward, hopefully this channel could be very, very helpful for you. But again, none of this is financial advice. A lot of the trades that I'm going to do is for my own personal use. I'm hoping a lot of them will be successful. Some of them might not be, but you're going to see why I've come to the conclusion on some of these indicators here. So first and foremost, the biggest indicator I use is an EMA. So the EMA, I use the 20, which is the yellow line, which is an exponential moving average, and the 55, which is the red line over here. So with this line, this is kind of looking at short-term versus long-term. And CoinsKid, which is a great YouTuber, he kind of identifies a lot of these trends as well. And when you're seeing these cross right here, this is what's called a golden cross. This is usually really, really good. As you see, this is the short term crossing over the long term. This tends to be a bullish indicator. In this situation right here, back when Bitcoin was around 64,000, over here about 57,000, it actually is called a death cross. So the short-term EMA crossed under the long-term EMA. And as we all know, we saw a huge dump from this moment. Pretty much we've seen a 50% dump since then. So these tend to be good indicators moving forward. Now, when you start getting on a weekly platform and you start looking at these indicators more on a weekly macro time frame, they tend to be even stronger. So let's just go back in time. Let's look at like what the last time that Bitcoin's done this. When's the last time Bitcoin has shown a golden cross right here, which it recently did just on August 1st. So the last time we can go back to that is over here. It did test it. It did technically go under, but that's not so much. This was over. It kind of came here, it bounced. This is September of 2020 through about the beginning of October of 2020. But the first very big cross was probably right here, which was April of 2020. And pretty much since then, like we said, it's kind of come up, it's tested, come up, tested again. Again, it has gone under, but it didn't really. This is more of a test. Came on up, and then this is where we officially saw the death cross, right here on May 13th of this year. And pretty much since then it's been going down. You can go back in time and you could see this. Here we see a death cross again. Now this did have a golden cross right here, and then shortly after did have a death cross. This is one situation where I kind of look at it and I take it a little bit with a grain of salt. This is the COVID crash right here. There's a lot that kind of happened in life. I think when COVID hit, it's a once in a century pandemic that's hit. You obviously want to take it into consideration, but at the same time, this is such a odd event right here. And as you can see, this was able to kind of come on up. It was a huge shock to the system, and within 1 month, it was able to respond and actually continue the uptrend that it was showing prior to that. Before that, we have another death cross right over here. So this was the peak. This was the peak right here in 2019 before coming back down. In 2018, or 17, when Bitcoin kind of crashed, came on up, death cross, and it worked all the way back down. So it really took a long time. It took a long time period for it to create a golden cross again. And here it did, but it wasn't able to sustain it. And it continued to kind of test it and continue to come back down. We'll go back in time again. Bitcoin down at the bottom, creating a golden cross, came up, testing it for support, come up, testing it for support. Everywhere along the ways, a golden cross on a daily tends to be a very, very strong indicator. Now, we want to make sure, as we go to the front of the chart, where we are now, we want to make sure that when this is not just a test. So we want to actually see Bitcoin kind of come down moving forward. Watching Bitcoin eventually get to a point where it kind of comes up and comes back down. These indicators tend to go that way, in that way. You want to see it hold right here, and if it loses it, then it's going to be kind of similar to other moments in time where it's really just kind of testing it, testing the support, so testing the resistance in this case, and could continue to head back down. However, if it holds the support right here, you will most likely continue to see Bitcoin move up in an upward direction. So this is one of the indicators I'm looking at to kind of help me. I think this is a very early sign of a very strong bullish indicator. Now, this could have been the bottom right here. I'm personally, for me, I'm waiting for just more confirmation before I dive back in and invest more of the money that I have sitting on the sidelines. The second indicator for me that I'm looking at is I'm looking at Fibonacci levels. So what I do with a Fibonacci, let's just delete this one. I come over here, I come to this chart right here, I come down, Fib retracement. What I do is I find what I assume is the swing low, the bottom. What we're hoping is the bottom. Now, I don't always take the wicks. Sometimes I take the wicks. In this case, I'm not taking the wick. I'm taking the open. I'm taking the close. What that bottom indicator is. I'm taking it from the bottom. I'm dragging it all the way to the top right here. And what this is showing me is this was the top. This is the bottom. And these are the fib levels right here. Right now, this is a 50% fib level, 0.5, at the 43,452. Right now, that's where Bitcoin is testing. This is what it's going after. And this, for me, right here is a very, 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 very important level. You don't hear about it too much, but this is a very, very important level right here, this 0.50. Let's go back to some of the other crashes that Bitcoin's had. We're gonna skip this one right now. We're gonna go over here. This is the 2017 crash. Now, when Bitcoin eventually had a death cross right here, it came down and it started moving back up. And as we could see right here, the level that it got stuck at was that 0.5 fib level. So this is a level that I'm watching personally for myself. I want to see what this does right here. These next couple of days are important. I mean, it could be a week. It could do this. It could bump its head right here, come on down, retest again. It might shoot through it. So the thing with now versus then is we actually, this hasn't created a golden cross. There's no golden cross here. So it is a little bit stronger right now than what we saw in 2018 when this was going through something very, very similar. It came back down, actually created a lower low, eventually hit its head on this Fibonacci level before eventually correcting even more. We saw something similar in 2019. It created a golden cross right here, came on up. Eventually we started working on down, came to the COVID crash, and worked back up. We're going to actually go back further in time. We're going to go back to the first big crash of Bitcoin. And this was at the end of 2013. So 2013 right here came up, Bitcoin about little over 1200, came down hard, had a death cross right over here, roughly around the $700, $800 range, came down, eventually made a golden cross right here. So very, very good indicator, kind of like what we're seeing now. But again, what we saw was this level right here, the 0.5 Fibonacci level. Hit its head, eventually looks like it hit its head again. Can drag this out right here. So in a sense, almost tested it twice. So looking at the 0.5 right now, the 0.5 fib, the 50% level, this is kind of an important level. This is a very, very important level, and it's something that I'm looking for. I want to see what Bitcoin does at this level. I know it's had a lot of days in a row of going up. I mean, it's pretty much gone up. What do we got here? 17 bars. 4 of those days were down bars. So it's had 13 out of 17 days of just really good movement. It's gone up a total of pretty much from the bottom. If we just take the bottom to where we are right now, it's gone up 45%. So it's in a really good spot right now. I mean, it looks very, very, it's created a golden cross. It looks good. It does. It does look good. But this is an important level right here. Another indicator that I'm seeing that doesn't really get talking about really, really much anywhere, but is the Pi cycle top indicator. So I'm going to get rid of some of these charts. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to get rid of all of these fib levels. Get rid of that there. Get rid of this here. Now this is a chart that really is only used for Bitcoin. And it was created prior to the recent all-time high of 64K. It was used off of data in the past to find an indicator. If you're familiar with the Pi cycle indicator, this yellow line, orange line right here, is normally below the green. When it crosses, each time it crosses, it is perfectly timed out where the top has been for Bitcoin. So you go back in time, you cross right here, and this is exactly the peak. This is 2018. When it crossed, it was the peak. And it did it again recently when it was at 74K. And hey, that's great. This is looking at previous times. Okay, we're past that. We're past that, Anthony. Why do we need that anymore? And honestly, this could just be a flat-out coincidence pattern. I'm not saying that this is something that you should take seriously, but I just think it's a unique pattern that we could look at. Let's look at some of the past times when there's been these crosses. Each time, Bitcoin has actually used these lines as support and resistance. It's come down over here. This is 2013. I mean, here's a point of contact right here. It's gone up, It crossed over. And as you see, once it got under here, it really kind of struggled. It struggled. It got above it for a small moment in time, came down, retested again, but then eventually lost it right here. Eventually lost it right there. Came on down, hit its head. Tested it here, didn't get through. Tested it here, didn't get through. Tested it here, didn't get through. This is all in a downtrend. Finally, it was able to break through. Got above, lost it again. Breakthrough here. Now it started working up. And now it started using it as support. Support, support. Almost touched it here. Flirted with it for a while right here. Came on up. Where did it hit its head? On the other line. Where did it hit its head? On the other line. Where did it find support? Where did it find support? Again, we are still in 2017. Came up, broke. This is when Bitcoin started going parabolic. This is when it started really gaining some value. Came up, really stretched itself out. Came back down. Where did it find support? Broke through, came and retested. Broke up like crazy, came back down. Where did it find support? Again, this was recently invented, this chart. This was meant to go back in the past to find peaks. But as you can see, this is actually an indicator that has shown both support and resistance zones. Came up here, bumped its head. Couldn't really break through. Couldn't really break through. These were zones right here that are indicators. When it couldn't break through, we were working in a downtrend. Working in a downtrend. When we finally broke through, you start seeing the uptrend. You start seeing the uptrend. Where does it hit its head? Again, this could all be coincidence. It really could. This could all be coincidence. It finally lost it right here. What happened? I don't even have to show you. I don't even have to show you. Lost it. Lost the support. What happened? We saw a downtrend. Broke through. What's going to happen? Should move up. Oh, I was wrong. COVID crash. Again, this is a time frame I'm hesitant to use, but it did lose it. It came down hard. Eventually regained it. Tested it, retested it, got over, retested right there, and started using this line for support. Started using it for support. Came up here, was bumping its head, but then quickly shot through. This is faster than the 2017 run. It just shot through this thing. Really broke on through hard. Tested real quick right here, and then eventually lost it right there. Now I bring this up because we have recently tested the area right here. Again, this is similar to the fib level that we're looking at the 50% fib level. It's unique that it's kind of colliding right here. For me, I look at this zone and there's a lot going on that Bitcoin's trying to work through. I think if it gets through this, there's a lot of good upside, because this is a lot working against it. We've seen this level, we've seen this line before, this pi cycle indicator line. It is a support and a resistance zone. So getting over this over these next couple of days is, for me, very, very important, and will kind of help us figure out what this is going to do. This is something, this is a trend that, again, it could be nothing. It's a pattern. It could be flat out coincidence. It really could be. But I do think there's enough indicators in the past, just going through this enough times, when it's lost it, when it's touched, and it's used it as support, it's used it as resistance, to let you know what is going on with it. And if it can't really break over this level right here, you're going to see more downtrend. It may come up and test it again. You might see, again, more downtrend. So this is kind of an indicator that I'm looking for right now. I would like to see Bitcoin break through this 0.5 fib level. I would like to see it get to the 0.618. I mean, if I'm really greedy, I'd like to see it get to the 0.786. This way I know it's broken through some of these zones. It'll eventually come back and back test, especially the 0.5, which is what you want to see. It's what you want to see. But this is a pattern that I really haven't seen anybody talk about, and I think it's a pattern that's very, very valuable. Last and not least, we're going to look at the weekly RSI. And I'm going to actually change the RSI right here. 14, and we're going to get rid of some of these. We're going to hide this. You're going to hide this. I'm actually going to drag this up. Let's get rid of this. We're going to get rid of that. Okay, so for me on the RSI, I actually set my level to 53. The reason why I set it to 53 is because in the past, Bitcoin has used this level as a support zone. Every time, as we go back here, on the weekly, this is an area right here that Bitcoin's kind of used. Oh, no, we do want the 14. It's used as support. It's bumped its head. When it's lost this level, I'm sorry, it's when it's lost this level. We're actually going to create a line right here. Draw a horizontal line. That's the line we want to draw. As you see, when Bitcoin's kind of come down, it's tested this level right here, the 59, the 60 RSI. Come up. When it's been in a downtrend, it's hit its head. Hit its head. Starts to break above. Now it starts to use it as support. Break up. Break up. Gets here, it is in a downtrend. Downtrend, downtrend, downtrend. Actually, I'm sorry, I had it right the first time. We are not going to use this level. We're just going to delete that. This is the level when Bitcoin's in an uptrend, is using it as support. It's using it as support, using it as support, using it as support. When it starts to lose this level right here, this is when Bitcoin goes in a downtrend. It came up, it tried to get through here, it couldn't. Hit its head, couldn't. Could not get back up to it. Starts to work back up, got over, lost it, heavy downtrend. Finally got back up, use it as support, use it as support, use it as support, shoot on through, and this is where we are today. this is an indicator that I'm kind of looking at. I'm looking to see if Bitcoin, what it does. I want to see it get through here. This is a very, very important level for Bitcoin. It's not often that normally it loses it. Now it came up here, again, COVID crash. It broke through. Maybe this would have, without COVID, maybe it stays above. I don't know. But it lost it hard. When it lost it here, this is when it started its downtrend. It did work back up slightly. It did get in slightly, but it couldn't sustain. Eventually lost it. Tried to work back up, couldn't sustain. But this is a very, very good support zone. So on the RSI, on the weekly, this is a more macro level. This is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for Bitcoin to get back in here, eventually kind of come up, maybe retest like this. Hopefully it holds. And then if it holds, you might see it come back up. And then eventually, you may see it come back down. And then a little bit more up. And then eventually that's going to do that. It's going to be an overbought period. So this is what I'm kind of looking for from Bitcoin moving forward. These are some indicators I use. Again, as you probably could tell, this is my first chart ever created. You probably know I'm not a financial advisor. Yes, have I made money? Yeah, I have made some money on crypto. Am I a millionaire? Nowhere close. Nowhere close. I've been in crypto for a couple years now. I've gotten in more extensively within the past year than I have before. So this is something that I enjoy. It's something that I look at. Again, I'm just looking for patterns. And I do think there's some patterns that some people aren't talking about, especially the Pi cycle top indicator. I really haven't seen anybody else talking about it. Again, it could just be flat out coincidence. It could be a pattern. It could be a support resistance zone that people are just not familiar with. And we'll see. Only time will tell. And what Bitcoin has done in the past tends to be good indicators, but it's not the end-all be-all. So hope you enjoyed my chart. I do plan on making a lot more moving forward. So please leave any feedback. I'm open to any pointers. This is my very first chart, and anything you guys have for suggestions and advice, even criticism, I can handle it. So thanks for coming to my video, and hopefully I'll see you again soon.